Funny thing about the pack openings, actually, is when you go to open a pack, I didn't notice this for a while because I was hitting skip, but if you open a pack, you get half-censored Harpie Lady. You get one pierced on her left, one giant polka dot, it's not a polka dot, thing, and then when you click on it, it disappears. So I haven't noticed anybody else mention that. I thought that was just a fun little thing that they messed up in the files. So I'm going to start this duel thing off, this deck profile off really quick by saying with Harpies, you need to have self-chain to on. I'm an idiot, and I somehow had forgotten that I turned this off for whatever reason, and for the first few duels, I could not use Harpie Slash's effect, so that's a fail, and you'll see how much of a problem that was in the first few duels. On top of the fact that I failed with, you know, having Harpie Cyber Slash Harpie Lady's effect work, I also changed the deck a few times because of the effect not working. I thought it was a bug and I was being dumb. I used Power of the Guardians because on attack before, because it says here that it does not work on the damage step, but when you have an attack declaration with Power of the Guardians, the effect will activate, triggering Cyber Slash Harpie Lady's effect, even though you have your chain off. But regardless, here's the deck that I ended up using the most, that actually was the most consistent. I began these replays when Harpie Ladies first came out. I got like 8,000 gems, so I was able to get all the Harpie Lady cards I needed with just 8,000 gems, which was fantastic. But I didn't know what build was optimal, but this is what I ended up with, okay? So we got 3 Harpie Channelers, the best card in the deck. You definitely want 3 of them. She is a 1-card combo to get to Slash Lady. So you want 3 of her. If you are unaware, you discard a Harpie and special summon a Harpie from the deck, which is works really well with Harpie Perfumer. 1 Harpist. I'm probably going to change this to Oracle when Oracle comes out in a few weeks, but she's alright. Then we got Harpie Perfumer, which is also technically 1-card combo. You summon her, you can add a Elegant Egotist from the deck if you don't have one in your hand, and then you can go into Slash Lady with that. Or you can do whatever you need to do, but then you can go Channeler, discard a Harpie, summon Perfumer, add whatever you need. If you have a level 5 or higher Harpie on the field, which would be your Cyber Slash, then you can add 2 cards. You can add Egotist and then defeather the rest. You also run 3 Harpie Lady ones. The best Harpie Lady that is a generic Harpie Lady that you can use Egotist with. I believe at one point I might have been using Harpie Lady 3, but that was dumb. Don't do that. Then 2 Forbidden Lance. Just, you know, you have issues with Backrow. You get anything happen to you normal summon a Harpie, and if anything happens to that, it's game over for you pretty much. Then you're gonna want Swallow's Nest. I would run 3 if I had 3. I do not. I only have 2, but 2 actually works fine. And 1 Hysteric Sign, another card that probably can get booted from the deck, maybe. I don't know, it's not that great. Then 1 Harpie's Feather to Rest. If you run 2, it's kind of bricky, but sometimes I kind of want to. But I have an extra deck monster to make up for that. You'll see in a second. 2 Egotists. You could probably run 3 instead of a Hysteric Sign. I'm running 2 Karma Cut. Also not super necessary. Maybe if you have 3 Lance and 3 Swallows, get rid of the Karma Cuts and add 1 of those each. Then we're running into 2 Slash Harpie Ladies. You probably don't need 3. You definitely need 2 because you're going to lose 1 eventually. Then you're going to have an Abyss Dweller, which is nice against Blue Eyes. Daigusto Emeral, which is another Feathers Rest pretty much, but like worse. I know a lot of people are using the Neos engine with this to summon the Neos again. Maybe try that. 1 Malevolent Sin. Malevolent Sin is the best rank 4 XYZ that we have, in my opinion. Just putting that out there. Then a Thunderspark Dragon. If you don't have this and you went through the Harpie deck, you use Lightning Vortex, whatever the hell it's called, you need something to get rid of Saber Dancer. This deck has no out to Saber Dancer, and there's a lot of Lunalights right now on the ladder because of a lot of videos coming out where Lunalights do really well, and they are doing well in the meta. I'm running a Photon Pap. You don't really need that, I guess. Another good option you can use with this deck is if you have it, the Utopia combo. You go into Utopia, then you go into the Utopia C, I forget what it's called, and then you can use that combo. I think I just obtained the Ultra, so you go into Utopia Ray, that's what it's called. And then you can do the combo with that. It's actually not bad because you can go very easily, you can turbo out Utopia. So that is the deck, the pretty much basic combo. Summon Channeler, get Channeler out somehow with Swallow's Nest, with itself, whatever. Then you summon Channeler, get a Perfumer, then go into your Synchro, return cards to the hand. If you don't know, and I'm make no sense, /Harpie, when you activate a spell or trap, you can return an enemy card to the hand, and I'll show you in the replays. But that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoy. Today is April 10th is my YouTube channel's 13th birthday. It's a teenager now, so I thought I'd celebrate with my favorite deck finally getting support, which is awesome. Oh, also, skill. Harpie's Hunting Ground. I use a few. Probably the best one is Tie That Binds or whatever. That makes you be able to beat over Blue Eyes cards, because Blue Eyes is definitely hard to beat over with this deck. Anyways, hope you enjoy.
It's time to do.
So, again, I was using different builds of this deck when it first came out. I didn't know what was optimally the optimal build of Harpies, so I was running Draccosack with Harpie's Pet Dragon to use with Channeler to make a Draccosack, and you'll see a lot of replays with opening Harpie's Pet Dragon, and it was such a bricky card that I always had in my hand that I needed to get rid of it. And I was running Harpie Queen, and I believe at one point I was running Harpie Dancer. So all these different combos, because I've all the Harpie cards. I've been waiting for these cards to come out. So anyways, I get my turn 1 play. It's not that fantastic. He Heralds the Abyss. I get to get rid of my Queen. And he's in a Black Whirlwind. I thought he was going to be playing Harpies, but no, he's actually just playing Blackwings. So I was hoping for a mirror match to show how Harpies work, but there's a mirror match eventually. So he gets to summon all his cards, reduce my everything. So again, at this point, I didn't know I had my self-chain thing off. So every time that spells are used, I wasn't always able to activate /Harpie's effect, and it really was making me angry. So for the first few duels, you'll see me not using my cards optimally, and it's just hopefully reminding everybody to go and change that setting to on. I showed it at the very beginning of the video, so you couldn't miss it. You should definitely make sure that's on. I believe I have a small memory of me turning it off. I just don't remember why or when I did that. But now that I fixed it, I was able to do it. So like with Harpie's Feather Rest, normally I'd be able to return an enemy monster to the hand, but because it's not on, I wasn't able to do it. But with Power of the Guardians on Attack Declaration, its effect activates, and I'm able to do it then. And that's why I was running Power of the Guardians, because I did not know I had it off. So I had to change my entire deck build to build around that problem, and that's not good. That's not how you play this game. That is just really bad deck building, but I was still able to beat Blackwings. Regardless, make sure it's on, okay? That's important. Also, almost all of these duels are going to be the day that the Harpies came out. I was able to build the deck and go into the ladder immediately. So, a mixture of me not knowing how the deck is built optimally versus opponents not knowing how to counter the deck properly makes a few sloppy plays. This deck, or this replay isn't fantastic to showcase how the deck works or whatever, but it's just, it's just a duel. It's just talking about how these cards work and showing the basic strategy, regardless of having Power of the Guardians or an optimal build. It's just getting out one Synchro and just hoping to survive off of that, because as soon as the spell activates, once per turn, the Harpie Lady effect returns a card, and there's not that many counterplays to a card returning to the hand. It's a card goes in the graveyard, a card gets banished, and there can be counters, but a card returning to the hand, that's why I used to like Virtual Beast so much. With Petal Fin returning cards to the hands, nobody could do anything about that. Though I should mention that this actually is in Platinum. You can see that I have a win streak, so it's not below Platinum, but it's not at Legend. So some of these duels, like the last one was Grandpa's cards, and then a few other ones they're not the best decks. It's not Blue Eyes, it's not Dark Lords. There are better deck replays to showcase how Harpies can handle against Blue Eyes and whatnot. But this was in Platinum still. This is before I went. There's I think 1 or 2 duels in the KC Cup, and then eventually higher ranks. You'll see better duels. But against Dragunity, Dragunity activates its effect and I return its card to his hand, and that's it. Game over. He can't do anything, so he surrenders. I loved that. It's a good replay. So here we go. Get to use Channeler. Channeler will use effect to send Harpist to search for Perfumer. Perfumer will be able to get me a Harpie Feather Rest. Then I'll be able to go into the Synchro, use Harpie Feather Rest, return 3 to the deck with a level 5 or higher Harpie on the field. I can draw 2, so it's a pot of greed. It's great. Get Lance, use Power of the Guardians just for extra protection. Harpie Hunting Ground, it's a mirror match. It's going to use Channeler's effect, or actually Harpie's Hunting Ground effect But because it's mandatory, I get to return his card to the hand. It's just great. It's the mirror match, whoever uses the spell first, when there's both snipers on the field, is pretty much who loses. There are times that you can recover from that if you, as long as you don't get the Channeler returns or Perfumer returned as your normal summon. And then I just, for bragging rights, got both slashes out and attacks for game. Okay, so he T-sets on his first turn. I get to go with Channeler, just got Harpie Lady 1. Going into Floodgate, I get to Lance the Floodgate, go into a Draccosack, because I thought I would use Draccosack for a replay. Why not, right? Power the Guardians on Draccosack, attack into a Bacon Saver. Got 3100 and will be protected, except for Predaplants. Who would have thought Predaplants would ever show up? I love Predaplants, but who would have thought Predaplants show up, which would pretty much completely ruin what Draccosack can do. And then Chimera comes out, and then Spino special summon Sundew, and we got all this stuff going on. So I get to luckily use Channeler on Queen to get a Perfumer, go with a Harpie's Feather Rest, use Harpie's Last Rill to, this was an, don't use this skill. You get a Harpie's Feather Duster, you get 4 more Harpies in the graveyard. It saved me in this one duel, but no, to get rid of the Treacherous, but normally don't use it, use something else. So again, I didn't have the self-chain to on, so I could not use Harpie Slash's effect in any of those spells except for Power of the Guardians. So please, 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 please remember to have that on when you use this deck, because it will really ruin your mojo. It works when your opponent uses Lance, but it doesn't work when you use Lance on your turn or on anything. Like, it really never lets you use your effect. I was able to go beat over it, but please have it on, please. We're still using the unoptimal build, but again, it was like day one of having the deck and the cards out. So I get to summon Perfumer, search for an Egotist. I already have Feather Rush in my hand, so that's good. I use Egotist to search for Harpie Lady 1 and go right into the Synchro. You get to use Power of the Guardians on the Synchro. Synchro then activate the effect. Return it as a Krawler deck. Crawlers are really annoying. They're just constantly swarming the field, but luckily Slash will return to hand instead of whatever else. You know what? I don't even know how Crawlers work. I did a deck profile, I think, my last video also went against Crawlers. Still don't know what they do, other than swarm the field and be annoying. I know X Krawler is a problem, but so I know how to focus on him. But anyways, Power of the Guardians on activation would have normally let Slash's effect trigger off, but he uses a trap and I just trigger off that. But he negates me with X Krawler, but with Power of the Guardians I'm able to attack in. Another reason I was using Power of the Guardians is because Blue Eyes White Dragon. For example, here's Blue Eyes White Dragon, we're still in Platinum, whatever. Get to rank up 1 streak of 3. So Power of the Guardians is not normally a good card to use in Harpies with the optimal build. Swallow's Nest and Lance are better. But if you're not using Tie That Binds, Power of the Guardians might be a good idea for decks or duels against Blue Eyes, because you can't get over Blue Eyes White Dragon. Sure, the White Dragon, what's it called? The Spirit will banish your Power of the Guardians, but if you run more than one, that shouldn't be a huge problem. But with turn 1, I was able to get not a very good board out, but I have a set Lance, or a set Karma Cut. Wow, I can't even remember what card I just activated. So getting rid of Alternative would have been, if I had not been able to do that, it would have been a huge problem. So pretty much this whole duel consisted on me lucking out with the Karma Cut turn 1. So sometimes tech cards will really save the day, and you need to remember that sometimes it's just down to chance whether or not you lose or win against Blue Eyes. So if you lose against Blue Eyes one time, it does not mean Harpies are not a good deck. It's just, you know, luck of the draw sometimes, when it really boils down to. I get Regeki Break, I lose my Slash, I get to attack with Abyss and Harpie Lady 1. Abyss is going to be really helpful right now. I'm going to chain it so that in the end phase you cannot special summon another monster. He's going to sage his own White Stone. Attack into my Abyss, because obviously it's a big problem. But luckily that leaves my Harpie Lady 1 on the field. I get to Channeler, Perfumer, search for Elegant Egotist. With that, I could have gone to a rank 4 if I wanted, or a 3 rank 4. But I returned with Channeler, and I got 2 Harpie Lady 1s on the field. I could have been able to beat over with that. Then I'm going to use Emeral to be able to draw more, and have a Lance, and have an out. I believe this is when my deck was built more optimally with Swallow's Nest. But yeah, there you go, beating Blue Eyes with Harpie Ladies. So it's possible. And here, we have a guy with an 8-win streak, Kite Tenjo. Obviously, he's going to be using Photons. Photons would normally be a problem. It's an OTK deck, or an FTK. Yeah, an FTK deck, OTK, whatever. So as long as you can survive like one turn, they really can't do that much more after that. You need to remember that with this deck, if they summon an XZ, and this guy knew it, he knows how Harpies work. If he summons an XZ, and I have a spell, that XZ is gone, and his whole turn is completely wasted on summoning that for turning the extra deck. So he's gonna use a Lizard, get a Thrasher. Thrasher can special summon. It's probably got an Advancer in his hand. There's Thrasher. There's Vanisher. Vanisher will search for the Photon Dragon. He could go into an XZ right now, special that from the hand. Let's say he's gonna go with Advancer, use his skill to show me a Photon, return to the deck, get a Burst Stream of Destruction, which will banish a card on my field, which is a huge problem, obviously. He summons Galaxy, I'm going to use his Lance to reduce his Vanisher. He's going to chain, I'm going to chain, return that. I thought returning it might not make the effect activate, but I was wrong. A special summon Perfumer with Channeler, get an Egotist. He's only got a Vanisher on the field, so I'm going to use Slash with Egotist. Slash will go off of the Egotist, return the Vanisher. This is now, obviously, with self-chain on. I figured out how it works. After I built it optimally, attack, that goes as 8 win streak down the drain to Harpies. And last but not least, we're finally in the KC Cup now, seeing how we can do in that with Harpies. This was day 1 of the KC Cup, so it was hit or miss. A lot of blue eyes, a lot of Dark Lords. But instead of that, I'm going to show you Fortune Ladies, because that's what I won against, and I'm just going to show it. So he's using all his Fortune Lady skills and cards. Luckily I get to go turn 2. I believe most of these replays have been me going turn 1. With Harpie's Hunting Ground on the field, I can pop whatever back row he has. Again, I'm going to say that even with Harpie's Hunting Ground or Harpie's Last Will, it's most likely better to use either Level Og or Tie That Binds. So I'm going to use Fallow's Nest to get the Channeler, because I didn't start open with the Channeler, and I'll be able to pop enemy control in the back. He's going to try to do that when I lance my Channeler. Luckily, I had a very good opening hand. I get Perfumer. Perfumer will then pop the back row and be able to search for Feather to Rest. Now that I got all the back row dealt with, or everything dealt with, I can just summon Slash, pop my own Hunting Ground because it's a mandatory effect, use Feather Rest, luckily rip into an Egotist, summon Harpie Lady 1, and then I have lethal through that. So that's the deck. Hope you liked it.